sliding tarp on it even. Go with the aluminum. Could go with the 3 axial. It's a little more, a little different, but there's the one with 48 feet spread. The spread wheels. Boom. But this is the one we'll go with, 53 feet. Boom. Rear wheel. Confirm. Did I purchase it or not? Oh, select the garage. Billings, I just sworn I looked over here. I didn't see it. Okay, yes. Okay, that's better. Now, current user, nobody. There we go. Bada bing. Use. All right, now I'm doing this without without a container intentionally. All right, so bang, there we are, all nicely attached. Okay. So we're gonna see now. How do I change positioning? C, B. Push something and I B. Definitely not B, and not B either. So it wasn't C. What did I push? I pushed something and it changed my viewing angle. Oh wait, it was numbers. Numbers. Okay, so in real life, you're going to be using this mirror or this mirror. So if you look in the mirror, you see a straight line. If you look in this mirror, you see a straight line. The straight line is the trailer and the truck. See that little silver spot, right there? You see it on the lower mirror, you see the stack with it. But there's a straight line. Did I start saving? Yes, I did. Okay, just making sure. So, in non-real life, you can sit there and be all over this, but the idea is this is the line you're going to see in your mirror in real life. The stack on this one is in the way. I do not like the stack right there. I really don't. But, because it's blocking the mirror. But, in non-real life, you can do this. In real life, you cannot. So, we're going to look at this as a way of real life. I'm looking at this mirror right there. As I turn the truck this way, the trailer is going to follow. Okay? Now, with that, if you look in the mirror, you still see what's ahead of the trailer once I'm going in reverse. So, keeping the wheels the same way as I was turning. You see what's happening? The truck's lining up, the wheels are, the trailer's staying in the same line. And because I have the mirror on it, I can see exactly what it is doing. If I have a trailer up there, and I do this, well, sorry, the other way. Disappears real quick off that mirror. Looking in this mirror at this point does not help. I would have to do this to see what's over there. To see where my trailer is. And in this game, I can't even do that all the way. But in this mirror, you can see where the trailer is. You can see that right toward the very center of the screen, you see where the straight line. Oh, turn that off. See where the straight line of the trailer is, and how it's coming into the truck at an angle. Okay. So you adjust your wheels, and you can. I did a maximum adjustment right there, and you can change that, but only small adjustments. So you can do a huge adjustment over a short distance. So turn your wheel back, and you're going straight again. I'm just going to straighten. See how that worked? All right. So you're looking at one mirror or the other mirror. If you go swapping between your mirrors or turning your head look backwards, it is going to affect your position on the steering wheel. You always want to keep one hand always at the 9 o'clock position or the 3 o'clock position, or 10 and 2 even. But 10 and 2 aren't as easy as that position and that position. So remembering where your hand is as you turn the wheel. So I'm going to stay on this one, and I'm going to try to follow it. All right. So I'm turning to the right, and it's here, and it's here, and it's here, and it's all the way back over. So there's a baseline position, straight line forward. Okay. So as long as you keep that hand in position, now your fingers are twisted over, but they're still there. They're still in that location. You know how much you twist it? It's only 1.5, period. That's it. To the center. This is going to be the same for real life. You're not turning the wheel 4 times. If you are turning the other way, use your other hand as your guide point. This way you know exactly how much to turn back to straighten your wheel. Let's say I want to go through that little pocket right there. That's going to be a tight one, eh? Okay. And we're going to do this from inside the cockpit. I got the mirror up there. Sorry, I'm moving at the time. I have the permanent mirrors locked on up there, so that I can do this without changing from one mirror to the other while driving normally. So let's see, I think it was F4? No. F3? No. No. There we go. So those mirrors are now turned off because, alright, so we take a look at our trailer, we can see, looking out the back window because it's a day cab, that she is definitely not straight. We can look in the mirror, we can see that it's only part of the trailer showing in the mirror. Look over here, you can see the trailer. Alright, no mirrors whatsoever. So, we looked in that mirror, we got our position, and we straightened up according to that mirror. Look over here, you can see that you can't see the opening. Over here you can. You cannot see the opening, you're not getting in there, or I'm not straight. I'm not straight. Alright, I can barely see the opening, and that's exactly what you want. You, the guide here, I'm going to swap views for you. The guide here is the pipes right where my finger would be. That is your guide. This is not your guide. If you were looking in this in the mirror on this side, then this over here, well, I'm using that pipe again. The driver's side smokestack, exhaust stack. I'm using that. That is your guide if you're on that mirror. You are using one guide. You do not use two guides. Okay? And you're using your mirrors or you're turning your head. If you turn your head, in this game, you don't get to see the full view, but you want to keep your hand, you see where his hand is on the wheel? One high, one low. But you want to keep your hand locked in. One hand is always in the absolute perfect correct position. You go one way, you use one hand. You go the other way, you use the other hand. Beyond the center, I should say. Beyond the straight tires. So, we're going to go back to the normal positioning. I got to remember the key. One. Okay, so now we've got our guide right there. And we're going to just make small adjustments to keep that guide in line. Alright, now, whoa, do not do that. Now, if you look carefully, the rear of the trailer, and that's what you can see in your mirror, the rear of your trailer is aligned with your point of reference, your guidepost. And that is literally your guidepost. If it was the side of the road, it would still be your guidepost, because that is the point that you're locking into. If you stop your truck and look in your other mirror, you can make sure you're clear on the other side. I look this way, doesn't look clear. Look this way, it's the same position as that one. Well, almost. I got a little bit of room, but I have to have that little bit of room to make the turn. So we're going to continue straight back. I hope my wheels are still in place. Okay, boom, wheels back where it should be. So now I'm going to change the direction of the trailer. You see the trailer's over that way, but that's only a small adjustment. Go back the other way. That was to swing it out evenly, because we're, like I said, I didn't even show. One moment, put that back in position. Two. Can you see it? Right there at the rear of the trailer, it's lined up with the gate. If you look at the gate at this angle, you'll notice I have just enough room to drive straight back through it. But that's not the goal here. The goal is to show how the mirrors work in real life. And the game will do it. I'm doing this third-person business to show you, not to show me, because I can see it in the mirror. Okay, so we're going back first person. Alright. So we can turn, do a maximum turn. And if you look, it's not getting any closer to that gate. Now, I hate that, by the way, that my reverse is my S button, which should be stopping me. That needs to be the emergency brake. Or reverse only. Alright, so I messed up a little bit by pushing the wrong button. But let me show you the other side of the gate. Anyway, two. See the other side of the gate? Never even came close. Because I started my turn right at the gate. And I didn't have the truck turned at such a point where it's going to automatically push into the gate. So now we're going to go the other way. By the way, you see where the rear tires are at the gate. You said inner tire. I can use the stack, but where this line is right here, you see where my rear tires are. That's the reason I pulled forward a little bit after making a screw up. You see that? Remember that back corner I showed you earlier? With the back tire on that farthest point? to this farthest point, to this closest point right here. Farthest from the driver, closest to the driver. Same would apply on that side if you're going the other way to the one that's over here. But that's where your point is. So now we're going to go back into the cab, if I can remember the damn key. That wasn't it. There we go. Okay, is my wheel straight? Alright, so because I played around, I don't know if my wheel's straight. I'll have to take a look. My wheel is straight. I can test that by turning the wheel. Alright, so now turn into it. Maximum turn right there. That wasn't a minor turn. And do not touch the wheel. Okay. Now if you look, the rear of my truck is almost at the center of the road. Now I'm going the opposite way. And back. Now my trailer is no longer in visual, but I can make a full U-turn right here. You notice I got no more room on this side. So that was a big turn. Go back to where it was. I think I was about right here, somewhere in the area. Alright, well, still, the goal is not to oversteer. I'm now in the right position. If you look at the rear tire there, where the line is at the rear tire, we know that the other rear tire is at the farthest point. Oh, see, once again, same exact position. Well, I can't be sure that the front of the truck is the same exact position, but I know the trailer is. So, real quick, real simple. Let me go back to this. If I turn my wheel this way, my truck is going to swing this way. The trailer is going to meet the center and then start going the opposite direction. We're going to show this in this mode right here. Oh, I didn't keep the wheel turned. Now it's met the opposite position. You see that? It's a met and passed. Now you see where the truck is and the trailer is? Straighten. Oops, sorry. In reverse, so I mean, looking backwards like this. This is what I said about do not go between your mirrors except for when you're stopped. Okay? Now to straighten my wheel up, and I got a cop car rolling up behind me. My wheels are straight. Reverse. And then once your front end is at the right spot, oh, sorry, I turned the wrong way, but you see how that worked? Now the reason this works this way is because your rear tires are way out there, but your tires, your center point is over here in the middle of that front of that trailer, just a couple feet inwards, right between the tires there. That is your pivot point. So I just backed through this gate at an angle, mostly in first person. I did that little bit right there in third person just to show you exactly what's happening. It was actually a hindrance to me. I would have been in real life in this position and stopping the truck and looking the other way. Stop the truck, look the other way. no reason to go forward unless you actually make a screw up and turn the wrong way. So once again, we know it's 1.5. So this is one little bit, and now we're fully straight wheel again. Same applies to the opposite. 1.5. So if that's 1, that would be half. I mean, that's 1. If this is 0, this is 0.5. This is 1. And your hand on your, whichever side it's on, is your guide. So now you know your hand went around 1 time. Now your hand has gone around 1/4 more. I say 1.5, but it's, as you can see, it's only 1 1/4. 1 full turn and 1/4. 1 full turn and 1/4. Real simple. The steering wheel is your guide point. The object you choose to use as your marker for where to turn is positions that do not change. Get off the road here. So your steering wheel changes, but your hand position, your right hand or your left hand, depending on which way you're turning as to which hand you want there. But you turn it back to the correct position before you put your other hand on. And your other hand is going the opposite, turning one way or the other. You're not going to take this hand and rotate it this way. You're going to take this hand and rotate it over. This hand goes over this way. This way, when you are turned, your hand isn't betraying you by going the opposite direction of what you want the tires to do. Okay? So, you have to consider the truck from the different points. And we're going to have to go to third person to do this, but here is your, I can't put a finger on it because you can't see my finger, but right there in that top drop deck, and that's the reason I wanted this type of trailer to show, right there in the top of that, underneath of, not the top of it, but the top section there, right there in the middle, that's your fifth wheel, right between them tires. You see it? Toward the front axle, front of those, but still, that is your connection point. That is your turn point for your truck. That is not the turn point for your trailer. The turn point for your trailer is way the hell back there. Okay, so your rear of your trailer is in the same position as it always is. It might be at a different angle. It might be at a different angle, but it's always going to be the same. Now that you know where your tires are, now that you know where your tires are, you're at the halfway point, or you're at the straight line point. Now, you notice my rear tires? If they go any farther from that pivot point, they're going to run into the gates. But the truck is going to stay in a straight line. As you notice, I put the wheels in a straight line. The truck's going to stay in a straight line as I do this. The trailer is what is changing direction now. Now my front tire, right there, is at that point. I can turn sharper into the turn. That's not what I want to do. I want to turn out of it. You see what I did there? Look at the trailer. Look at the trailer. It wasn't perfect, but it was nearly perfect. And this was, oh, I hate that. This was in third person, in reverse, aiming downwards. It's the same as if you're inside the vehicle, except you have to have a mental picture of this in your head. You have the mental picture of your truck. You have the mental picture of the angle of the trailer to your truck. It is actually quite simple. But the moment you go turning your head this way, you either stay with your head turned this way. Okay, listen. You either stay with your head turned this way, or you stay with your head turned this way. Every time you make a big change, you go to, you're going to make a big change. This is a big change. Why? Because your hand suddenly decides, your brain suddenly decides that your hand has to go the opposite direction to make the same dang turn you were just making. You have reversed your direction, and when you go from here to here, you've completely reversed your mental direction. And as you know, you have to turn counter to the direction of the trailer. So we always have to know where the center of the wheels, the center of your steering wheel is. That's the reason you keep your hand in one location, going one way, and the other location, you go in the other way. This way your hands do not conflict with each other. They don't conflict with your brain. If your hands are conflicting with your brain, you have to stop, readjust your mind before you readjust your trailer. Whoa. I moved it around maybe I moved it and didn't pay attention. But I moved it around so much I even lost where my wheel was. So with a regular box trailer up here, what you see here and what you see here are not the same. Over here, you look through the back with the regular box trailer, you're going to get a little visual light over here and you see nothing over here. You stick your head out over here, you're going to see a box trailer in your way. You're not seeing nothing. But now, we'll do it again. But now, I've got my head out the trailer, out of the truck, and I can see the rear of my trailer. It's what you're going to be steering with your right arm. And you're not your left arm at all. It's got to be your right arm because your head's out of the trailer. So, this hand is the one steering. And you're going this way. But the moment that thing is out of your visual, alright. Come on, straighten up. Hit the right button. Ah, keep doing it. Alright, so the moment your hand is out of the way, now I'm looking backwards and I'm turning the wheel not according to this. Here's where the wheel is. I'm turning the wheel to make a right-hand turn according to this. So it's going to be a right-hand turn that I'm making there. I'm looking out the back. Oh, and I gotta go in reverse. Which way did the trailer go? Exactly the direction I turned it in. I turned this to that direction. Went from this direction, turned to this direction. Turned in that direction, turns the trailer in the opposite while you're facing this way. While you're facing this way, you're turning in the same direction as you're turning your wheel. That's the reason people get reversed on this. So if I'm over here and over here, take the wheel. Oh, now I've turned that way. If I've turned that way and I'm looking backwards, which way would I be going? my trailer is going the opposite way. So now I'm going toward the boxes after it straightens up and he's no longer in visual. Alright, so I hope this helps somebody understand that the points do not change. The points are static. We'll stop the truck. What button to turn it off? There we go. The points are static. The front of your truck remains where the front of your truck is. The axial point is going to remain where your axial point is. That's between your trailer and your truck. That's the axial point between the two. It is set, as you can see, it's set slightly forward toward the front, but it's still between the tires. And then you have your trailer back there. Can I zoom out? Can I change angle? There. Okay, won't let me change angle at all now. Alright, let's see. Oh, 4 does okay. 5. Puts the outside the vehicle. 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 puts it back in. Okay. 9. Oh no, 9 just okay. 9's going through them. Okay. So where that rear of that trailer is always the same. Unless you've got something poking off the rear, it is not actually changing. The actual angle of it can change. Those wheels all the way to the back there, those are the same as these front wheels over here, except they don't turn. You're using that axial point to turn those rear wheels. You're not turning the rear wheels, but you're turning the direction of them. You're using the direction of your front wheels to adjust the direction of your fifth wheel, which is changing the direction of your rear wheels, which are essentially the front wheels of the trailer while it's going in reverse. So your front end, your position here, is the same as your position, not your position, but the position of your front stays the same. The position of your sides of your vehicle stays the same. What doesn't stay the same, and though your trailer position stays the same, the angle of the trailer does not stay the same. That is dependent on this, which is dependent on that, and dependent on this. These are going to be the same. And you saw the movement I made. You saw that I did it in just using the mirrors only. Doesn't really take a lot of practice. It just takes a lot of understanding of the movement to wrap your brain around the fact that if you want to turn your wheel that way, then your trailer, your back corner over there where the driver's side stack, your back corner over there is going to go this way. And if you turn the other way, the back trailer is going to go this way. So you have to consider the angle of your truck, what the straight line of your truck, you can't see my finger again, the straight line of your truck is going to hit. There's your straight line of your truck. There's the straight line of the trailer, so they're not lined up. I'm not in a straight line at the moment. But you align the two of them, you have a nice straight line, your wheel is straight, you're going to back straight. And as you're backing up, if you're making small adjustments, you can back without stopping. But if you're making big adjustments, you want to stop your truck. Not even I can do that one. I can try. But I don't think if you notice, I didn't turn my wheel hard though. I turned my wheel lightly. Whoa, 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 whoa! Do it again. But I could tuck it right up in there, nice and tight, if I wanted to. Even though I hit the gas when I meant to hit the brake. That's what I hate about the keyboard business over here, and not having a gas pedal and a brake pedal and all the other fun stuff like that. But this is the best tutorial guide I can give you, and that's remembering that you're using one mirror. While you're going slow, you can use both mirrors. But while you're turning your head, you want to make sure your hand is in the correct position. So knowing what is behind you and what is in front of you and what is beside you. But it doesn't matter what you do, this will never change the fact that your truck is straight. Your wheels are not straight, your truck is. From the rear of the truck to the front of the truck, you can draw a straight line, and it's going to be straight. You turn the wheels, it is still straight. So you have to adjust your position according your position of the front of your truck and the rear of your truck in accordance by your wheels. These are what's going to make the adjustment. Let me go ahead and hold. Now, I don't know how to lock the rear tires on this. I don't know if this game would even do it. And lock the rear axle. Lock the trailer tires on this game. But if I turn this way, that's to the right over here. So the trailer's to the left. Turn that way. Tires are facing that way. Rear is going that way. Very, very sharp change, as you can see. Straighten up halfway through. When your front end meets your rear end, straighten up. You continue again, but you want when you're making a 90 degree out of it, you know you've gone to the maximum, and you don't want to go any farther. Now, if you notice, the rear of my truck is headed toward that post. Head toward that post right there, the rear, outside rear. But I still have to make more of a turn. The truck is going to go straight. Oh, sorry. If I do that, the trailer is going to start straightening up though. It's going to stop turning. I do this, and it's going to sharpen that up. So what you want to do in this situation, if I wanted to back that out there, would be to turn your wheels this way, get your position. You see that the post and the rear tires there? Get your position like that. Make your full absolute turn. Make your turn until your tires are about to clear. They didn't clear. You see that? It just missed slightly. So, missed slightly, no problem. Straighten your wheel up. Drive straight forward. Pause. Move your tires back to the same position. And then make it a more gentle turn until you know your front end can clear, or almost clear. Ding. Now that one actually bumped it. But you can make some radical turns, but you have to understand that the truck is it's going to be in its position. The front and rear of the truck has not changed position. Only the angle of the trailer. The front and rear of the trailer have not changed position. Only the angle to the truck. The angle to the terrain. So your axial point to the front of the truck is in the center of that front wheel. That right there you see turning on your screen is the axial point where it makes contact with the ground. For this one, this is your axial point. For your rear tires there, that axial point is just slightly behind that of the rear tires, you know, of the truck. Yeah, they're all, but they're pretty much the front if you're going in reverse. But your axial point is right below that center, the front axle there. Yeah, it's the rear axle, but it's the, you know, if you're going in reverse, it's the front axle is arriving. That is your axial point. That's where your turning point is. Your turning point is not in the center of this. Your turning point is there. How your truck relates to that, it depends on this axle right here and the direction of your wheels over there. So you're concentrating on one post on this side or one post on this side, whichever one you're on. If you're on this post, you're on this mirror. If you're on this post, you're on this mirror. I'm using the mufflers to show the post, but so if you decide that you want to go through here, then this post is on this side of the truck. And if you want to keep in between the two, this post, I'm using the driver's side pipe right there to show it, is the point. So you have to be able to fit through there. And this is from a third-person perspective. Third person, you can pull off some wild magic. In first person, in real life, it's not magic, it's science. I didn't have to look at the rear of my truck, by the way, or the rear of the trailer. I was paying the entire time. I was looking at my truck. Because it is the truck. Oops, sorry, wrong key. It is the truck that is making the difference to the trailer. I didn't have. I did that in third person. All I was doing was looking at this right here. In the center of my screen is my truck. That was all I had to look at. Why? I know the other points are going to stay the same. Those two posts are not going to, that point right there, so I use this stack. That point right there and that point right there are not going to move. The axial point of the truck is the only difference. The distance between the front and the rear, are the only difference. But the distance between is still the same. That driver, no matter where you put that trailer at, is never getting any closer to the back end of that trailer than where he's sitting right there, unless he gets out and walks back there, or he's standing there and the truck drives past him. So, going in reverse might seem difficult. It is not difficult. Going in forward is more difficult because every time you make a turn, that turn is the entire length of that trailer to that. So that those rear tires are almost following precisely where these are, but they're not. Because the sharper you turn, the more that swing, I'm looking at using the pipe on the driver's side there, the more that swing becomes this. And that, you have your tires there, they're trailing. So when you move all the way up here to that flat bed right there, that is where the center point is. when you're coming forward. You have to clear that point of the trailer. If I was up against the curb, if I was driving along the curb, right there, and I want to make a right-hand turn without catching the post, then I'm going to have to pass that point where the top of that stack is on that trailer. I think that's about right. It could be a little farther up, but but I'm going to have to pass that point so that those tires follow straight line past it while making a turn, because that rear end is going to be out there. It's just, you know, that's the reason you make them wide turns, because you want that front end, that chopped off front end, to make a straight turn, as straight as possible. But as you notice, you can't turn this at 90 degrees. Doesn't matter what you can do. You can turn that at 90 degrees, though. I'm using the top of the pipe there. You can turn that very, very, very sharply. Maybe not at a perfect 90, but close to it. If you had something like a telehandler, you could literally shift the fifth wheel here, the connection point, outwards, and then turn sideways with whatever you were using to telehandler to make it go straight back, even though you're actually turning. You're at a completely different angle and just making it move back along the axis. But you're going to while you're doing that, you'd be pulling your fork in for the telehandler. All right, so I know I made this long and drawn out somewhat, but I think I might have demonstrated how to do this in real life. It is literally, in my opinion, harder to do this in game than it is to do in real life. Because I'm using a keyboard. If I was using a steering wheel, it would not be as hard. If I had a brake pedal and a gas pedal, it would not be as hard. What is hard is when you go from looking one way to looking another way. Do not confuse yourself. Do not think for a moment that that mirror is going to show you something that this mirror cannot show you. So you have a box truck up there. You cannot see once your angle has changed, once your angle has changed, let's see there. This mirror would only, you see where the rear is, you see where the mirror is, the edge of the trailer. If that was a box trailer, you would not, use P to activate white, okay. You would not be able to see anything but the box. And because you're losing that perspective, the only point of information this is giving you is the angle of your truck in relation to the trailer, or the angle of the trailer in relation to the truck, because you can see in that mirror the edge of the rear tire. Now, if you look at the lower mirror, you see a lot more, but it's very hard to see in real life unless you have really, really great eyesight. I don't. And if you look over here, again, you're seeing nothing that's helpful. You see the angle of the trailer to your truck, and that's the front end edge of the trailer to your truck, not the actual side. So people without day cabs have a lot. They are reliant completely on this, and then this. that's the reason flagmen come out and tell you what to do. But those flagmen will stand in positions where they cannot be seen. A lot of times. If my truck's facing this way and that flagman's over there, how the hell am I going to see him? I have no visual over there because that mirror doesn't. And this mirror would also not see him. So you don't have a rear window on a sleeper. I've never driven a sleeper. I can tell you it would be a lot harder to back up blindly. You have to get out, walk the area, make the points of reference in your mind, and then hop in your truck and drive those points of reference. This is what I did earlier. Well, looking in that third person back into this gate. I kept an eye on the truck itself at the position that the truck was. I didn't care about where the trailer was. I already walked through it, made a position in my mind, and just drove it. I don't know if any of this will help anybody, but it's the best I can do with the game and not in real life to show you, to try to demonstrate for you for real life. Alright, so I'm going to end this video here. I seriously hope this helps somebody, even though it's definitely long-winded, but it's, you know, it's a thing. And I really apologize for the mistakes of hitting the wrong keys. As you notice, my tires never hit the wrong, my directions on my tires never hit the wrong directions, but my W and S key, I'm trying to brake using my S key, and it's speeding up my reverse. This is not something I'm accustomed to in real life. That's the reason I like to have my S key as either my reverse only, and not my brakes at all, and my brake is on my space bar. Or my emergency brake on my S, because that way there's no mistake. You're trying to slow down, you're going to slow down. You're trying to slow down and you speed up in reverse. So, as the game fails me in this respect. If I had the keyboard, the steering wheel mechanism and the brake pedal and the gas pedal, even a stick shift would be nice. But in game, I am horrible at keyboard stick shift. I admit it. I can't help but admit that. I have no game. On the keyboard. I don't think I have a flex keyboard. Alright, well, you guys have a great day. I wish you well. Remember, it's not that